Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining the Spin Zone. I'm your host, Spin Doc, with you with a Wednesday edition. We got some daytime baseball today and some nighttime evening ball. So lots to get to. But first, I want to just ask everybody, if you're viewing this and you like what you hear, please subscribe to the Daily Bread Network on YouTube and give us a follow. Give me a follow at Spin Doc Sports if you're not already. Like the video. We do appreciate the love. Helps get our information, our message, all of our content out to a wider audience. So uh, for those that have been with a long time, you know how we start this. We always talk about what did we learn yesterday. And it was a big day yesterday, a lot of games going on. Not a lot of rain. Only one game was canceled by rain. There were a few that were delayed a little bit, but the Rockies and the Tigers was the only one that got rained out. So going back to yesterday, though, I had talked about how with the past history, with some of the contact situations, with really kind of everything, the only way to really look was on the over for Pablo Lopez, and boy, did he get there. Just an absolute gem of a start from Pablo. 2 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 11 strikeouts, just absolutely torched them. Did exactly what the numbers said he would do, and got a bunch of guys multiple times. This is something you actually don't see in a lineup very often, but the Orioles, every single person in their lineup struck out at least once. Not necessarily to Pablo, but just every single person struck out once. And I believe 6 of 9 struck out multiple times. That's horrible. 17 total strikeouts from the Orioles. That is bad. So an absolute just domination from Pablo Lopez, looking like he's back into form, looking like he is exactly what we thought he would be to start the season. So a very, very good start for Pablo. And then some of the other ones that we talked about, we talked about Wheeler. Man, Sharpie and I too went over Wheeler. We went back and forth on Wheeler about 100 times. And, it came down to just being so simple as to just bet it and forget it. I had said that if you're playing it, over is really the only way to go. I talked about maybe pulling it down, but you didn't even have to do that because the Rays were strikeout machines yesterday. He got a couple guys multiple times, and when you have a number like that, that is typically what you need. So Wheeler, 7 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, no walks, 9 strikeouts, just really kind of torched him. Yandy and Simpson were the only two, and those are the two that we had talked about yesterday, really the only two that didn't strike out. Everybody else got their fair share. So Wheels is becoming a guy where if the line is 7 or less or 6.5 or less against most opponents, I really over is the only way you can play it. There's just no reason or room to be cute with a guy like that. That was impressive from Wheeler. And then a few other things that we talked about. I know that we went over Skeens, and if you got the 6.5, I had said if you're playing this, you want to look to pair it with something else on a 6.5. That also hit. So Skeens, 6 innings pitched, 4 walks. Higher walks than he's used to, than he has been, 6 Ks and threw 102 pitches. They actually dropped him after the Cardinals lineup came out to a 5.5. And it was a little auspicious that they dropped him almost immediately after the Cardinals lineup was released, because other than Pozo, it was their normal and their usual lineup. So was a little interesting about that, but he did get the 6. I had figured he was going to ride the 5 to 6 line. 7 was going to be too much, and that's exactly what it was. So, I mean, I know the only official show thing that I gave out was Pablo Lopez, which hit pretty easily. But if you took everything that I had said as far as leans, you didn't lose. You did not lose. One of the other guys that I know was a pretty heavily bet guy and very often talked about was Michael King. And I had said I had crossed King off my list pretty early because it didn't make a whole lot of sense. King has had some pretty bad home road splits throughout his career and this year. So that played a factor today. And that's something that we're going to apply potentially to a guy who is going today. So King, not a bad start either. Only 2 earned runs, only 2 strikeouts, and just never really got off the ground from a strikeout perspective. The Yankees as a team only struck out 2 times. The only guys he struck out were Volpe and Grisham, and never really came close. The Yankees' patience was really paying off, and their newfound uptick in zone contact also played a big role as well. So those are some of the things that I took away from yesterday, is that there are some pitchers who just, they can even have a good start. They're just not great at striking guys out on the road. And that's just a thing with them. And like I said, we are going to talk about one of those individuals today. And there's a couple more going. So 3 pitchers to talk about today. As always, if there are any more that you wanted any information on, please feel free, drop them in the comments, and we will get to them. So we will start off right now with our first pitcher for the day, and that would be Mr. Robbie Ray. And Robbie Ray gets the Cubs today. This is an afternoon game. Robbie Ray striking guys out at a 25.9% clip, walking guys at a 13.3% clip. That's really nothing new for Robbie Ray. This has been a guy who always kind of lives on the edge. Sharpie and I joke about how, we talk about the Blake Snell experience. There is the Robbie Ray experience as well. That's a real thing. That's like a real thing. So Robbie Ray gets the Cubs, who by the metrics, as you can see on the chart here, are one of the highest contact teams in Major League Baseball. Very good at making chase contact, which is going to be important for this one, and are also above average in zone contact as well. This game, like I said, afternoon game, 2:20 p.m. And right now, the projected lineup for the Cubs is going to be 1 or 2 lefties and 7 righties. I'm going to assume that Kyle Tucker, I'm sure, will be in, and I'm going to also assume that PCA, that Crow Armstrong, is in as well. So a couple things about Ray. There's some decent history with this lineup. So it's interesting that the line is at a 5.5, is that 38 plate appearances. So not exactly enough to like make a huge discernation, but enough. 12 strikeouts in 38 plate appearances, 31.6% K rate, so not bad. But the thing with Ray is that if you can't make chase contact, this man will get you. The walks are indicative of how, when he throws outside of the zone, is that if you do make good chase contact, it's tough to strike guys out for him. If you don't, he's allowing 43.3% chase contact, which is absolutely elite. Very fantastic. And so when you talk about Robbie Ray, when you look at the teams that he's faced so far and in the situation that he's faced, so Rockies, horrible at chase contact, got 8. The Rangers swing a ton outside of the zone, average at chase contact, got 8. The Brewers don't chase, got 4. The Phillies, horrible at chase contact when they do, got 8. The Yankees don't chase, but he still got him for 7. So you kind of see a pattern forming here. But you also see that this is only the second time all year that Ray has been at a 5.5 line. 1-1 to this number, but both games were at home against the Rangers and the Brewers. So you have a Cubs team that does chase under league average, and over the last 2 weeks too, has very elite chase contact. So you go and you look at the lineup, and what I'm looking for is chase contact for one, but then lack of chase for a second. So I go down the starting lineup and I do see, so just going in order, Birdie is above league average, PCA is above league average, Haps above league average, Nico Horner's above league average, Carson Kelly's above league average, Seiya Suzuki is above league average, Kyle Tucker is above league average, Tucker and Turner are way above league average if those guys happen to be in. And the only guy that doesn't really have great chase contact is Dansby Swanson, but Dansby Swanson also doesn't chase either. His chase rate is 5%, almost 5% under MLB average. So right off the bat, I see a lot of things to like about an under here. The second thing is I'm looking at guys that actually do chase. So PCA, Crow Armstrong does chase. Nico Horner chases, but makes elite contact pretty much across the board. And nobody else on this team really chases. So you have a bunch of guys that don't chase and a bunch of guys that make contact when they do. And that's been the elixir for Robbie Ray pretty much for a lot of points in his career, but definitely this year. So I also look at Robbie Ray's other props, his outs, or what they have been. It was up against Colorado because the books expected him to dominate, which he did. And then his walks were down against Colorado. Those are back up. His hits were down. Those are back up. And his earned runs are back up as well. So with pretty much even juice on both sides for this one, when I don't see virtually any chase in this projected lineup, if this is the one that we get, also because even lefty this year, Ray's only striking guys out at 23.5%. So it's not a situation where even if there's two lefties in the lineup, I'm going to be overly worried. Even if there's three, if it's the right ones, I'm not going to be overly worried. So this is a very, very clear lean on the under here. I do want to see what the final lineup is for this one. I want to make sure that there's not a whole bunch of chase, especially with it being the day game after a night game. I always get a little, it's just always a little concerning until the actual lineup is released because you don't know what teams are going to do. Behind the plate today, we do have Chad Fairchild, who is a pretty reasonable ump, pretty neutral ump, so that shouldn't play a huge role either. So this is a really, really clear look on the under for Robbie Ray. It's like I said, DK at minus 130 is the best price that I could find before we went on. But I do want to make sure that there's a lack of chase in this lineup because when you chase against this guy, he can get you. His overall zone contact rate is average. It's just very, very league average. His fastball, some guys he can make miss, some guys he can't. I mean, he runs it up to 94, 95. It's nothing special. It's usually a setup pitch. So this is one where looking at this projected lineup, I just don't see a ton of paths to 6 if this is the lineup that they go with. But I also don't think that books could line him any lower because if you line him at 4.5, even if you juice the hell out of the over, you're probably going to be overweight on that side. So I think it's lined probably where it should be. And just by him being a good pitcher this year, I can see him getting a couple. Now, can he get enough to get 6? That's the part for me where if it's this projected lineup, it's probably going to be tough. So before we move on, I did see a couple people pop in the comments. Just wanted to say shout outs to Mom Who Bets. Good morning to you as well. Thank you for being here, always with us. Roger, happy hump day to you as well, my friend. How about Chris Sale? Yeah, played him in VIP and torched. I have a few people that in VIP that sent messages that they laddered him. I think one person even laddered him up to 10 and got plus 370. So that was pretty sick. He was started off hot, 2 Ks in the first inning, nothing in the second, and started to run his pitch count up a little bit. And then from there, it was just a strikeout fest. He was hitting his spots all over the place. I got a little worried because I always get worried when Chris Sale can't get guys when they're on 2 strikes. And in the second inning, he had a bunch of guys on 2 strikes, couldn't get him, but man, did he recover. So, Eric, good morning to you as well. Thanks for being here, and morning to Slim as well. No, talk about Robbie Ray. Robbie Ray. Robbie Ray was who we were talking about for today. So, this is a very, very hard lean on the under. If you have to get it in now, I would probably tell you to just take a shot on the under 5.5 right now, because there's just no chase in this lineup outside of a few guys who are above average in contact, and the one guy that's in the projected lineup that is not good at chase contact, which is Dansby Swanson. He doesn't chase, so his chase rate is almost 5% under league average. So, all right, moving on. We talked about home road splits. And boy, is this a thing for this guy. Christopher Sanchez, 28.9% strikeout rate for the year, 8.1% walk rate. He is on the road at Tampa Bay tonight. This game is at 7:05 Eastern. And you have a hard look on the over. You have a hard juice on the over at 5.5 at -146, with an under at 5.5 at plus money. I will tell you a few things. Number one is, this to me is almost like a blend of what the price should be for if he was at home versus if it was like just neutral, like not taking home road into account. I think it's done that way on purpose, and I think that they're going to let the public set the line for this one. Reason being is because Christopher Sanchez, I say this in VIP all the time, home versus road Sanchez is a thing. It's always been a thing. It always will be a thing. Especially this year, he has done nothing to dissuade me from that. So, to the tune of, even if you take, let's just even say you just don't take this year in a vacuum, and you look at it over the course of his career, Sanchez at home over the course of his career, 25.1% strikeout rate, 5% walk rate, a 20% strikeout to walk ratio. On the road, 17.1% strikeout rate, 8.4% walk rate, 8.7 strikeout to walk rate. Batting average for opponents goes up from 230 to 290. WHIP goes up from 1.06 to 1.54, and FIP goes up from 335 to 382. This has been a thing for Sanchez's entire career. So, not a huge sample size on the road this year, and I got to give him a little grace because he's faced the Mets and the Cardinals, who Cardinals are ultra elite at contact. The Mets can be, especially at home. And so he's got 3-2 against them. In his other starts at home, you have 6, 12, 9, and 7. Now, I look at Sanchez's other lines, and I see that they're pretty well set where they should be. But before you go plunking down money on a heavily juiced over here, you have to take that into account. You have to take into account that road Sanchez, from a strikeout perspective, is a thing and has been throughout his entire career. You can go back any year in this guy's career when he's had a regular starting gig, and you will see a striking home versus road disparity for Christopher Sanchez. Now, he does get the raise, and with Sanchez as a pitcher, if you just take it in a vacuum, like let's just say we were at let's just say from basketball perspective, this is a neutral site game, right? You do have Sanchez, who is in the zone right about league average, but the thing that you look for with Sanchez is chase rate and chase contact. Reason being is because he is allowing a gaudy 44.7% on chase rate. That is one of the tops in among all of major league starters. I've talked about this before, about how with his influx of velo, with the added with the added break that he has on his slider, it has equated to more strikeouts for this man. Overall, his pitch mix is pretty much the same as what it's been the last few years, except for his changeup, which was at a 34.8% whiff rate last year, is all the way up at 54.1% this year. Now, part of the reason for that is it's coming in actually everything's coming in faster, 85.1 to 86.5. The break on it's changed a little bit. He also has on his changeup a 37.7-inch vertical drop, which is 5.3 inches above comparable pitchers. So there's a whole bunch of advanced metrics I could go through with you, but really, added velo, added drop, added break, all has been a thing for Sanchez, and that's what's getting guys to chase, and that's what's getting guys to miss when they chase. So you look at the Rays lineup for today, and you see that as of right now, the projected lineup is 3 lefties and 6 righties. Not a huge disparity for Sanchez in lefty versus righty. But what I'm looking for here is I'm looking at how often they chase and what their chase contact is. Aranda, quite good. Jose Caballero is projected to be in the lineup. That's really, really bad if he is. He's a righty, so he might be, but doesn't chase as much, but horrible chase contact. Junior Caminero chases a ton, but makes contact. Andy Diaz is very tough to strike out. Danny Jansen does not chase. Curtis Mead doesn't chase and makes contact when he does. Misner is kind of bad at both, as is Christopher Morel, if they have him in, is a walking strikeout. And the kid, Simpson, has been quite good at contact. So when they go through this lineup as projected, I mean, I'm coming up with about 3 probably for sure. Then after that, I got to wonder, unless he's going to get guys multiple times, where did the other 3 come from? So Morel can definitely strike out more than once. Caballero for sure. We talked about this with Wheeler yesterday, can strike out more than once. And so if those 2 guys are in the lineup, it's probably going to be a complete stay off for me. But if they're not, or if only one of them is, and you have some of these other guys in here who either don't chase or make great contact when they do, is that this is not a spot I'm looking to play an over on. I never look to play an over on Christopher Sanchez on the road. I talked about his career numbers. His numbers this year match up as well. There's just such a huge disparity with him. He's even had great road starts and not K'd guys. So he can very easily do that against this lineup. So paying minus 145, minus 150, whatever it is, for a guy that has a career 17.1% strikeout rate on the road, and even with his increased velo, whatever this year, the road K rate, again, against 2 higher contact teams, has actually gone down. It's actually, I thought, around 15% this year. So it's a thing. So I'm looking at under or nothing here, and it's more than likely going to be nothing. I just wanted to warn people before you start seeing the K numbers and also thinking, okay, Wheeler torched him last night, so, that's going to equal strikeouts. Wheeler and Sanchez are 2 completely different pitchers, guys. They are 2 completely different pitchers. You kind of have the same thing, like I just talked about how many strikeouts the Orioles had, like Pablo Lopez in Minnesota. Simeon Woods Richardson goes today. They're 2 completely different pitchers. You have to look at it differently. You also have to look at, Wheeler's been great at getting strikeouts on the road throughout his career. Sanchez has not. So I am waiting on this one, but I am in no way looking at taking an over here. For me, it's either going to be a small shot on the under, especially if it stays at plus money and we don't get Morel or Caballero. One of the 2. I can tolerate one given the rest of the chase and chase contact in this lineup. But other than that, I'm just not interested in trying to play Russian roulette with road Christopher Sanchez from a strikeout perspective. If you want to back him on something else. You could back him on his outs, although he has failed to reach that in both of his last 2 starts. But this might be one where I just leave alone. So a guy who has just been striking everybody out, regardless of where, with the exception of, I think, 1 game, has been Hunter Greene. Hunter Greene at a 33.3% strikeout rate, 4.8% walk rate, elite numbers so far. He gets the Braves at 715, and this number is high. This number is high for a reason. 7.5 with the plus money at 114, and a very heavily juiced, no matter where you look, under best line I could find was on FanDuel. So I look at Hunter Greene and I look at his results, and then I look at some of how it compares to the Braves, and I can tell you for a fact that this is going to be an over or nothing spot. Again, this line is high for a reason. Hunter Greene has been absolutely dominating this year. In addition, he's faced this lineup 42 times and has 12 strikeouts for a 28.6% healthy K rate. Hunter Greene has been living in the zone this year. He's been living in the zone. He makes people just absolutely whiff like crazy in that zone. 57% zone rates, one of the highest rates among all pitchers going today, but only allowing 75.1% zone contact. You can see over here how this on the swing metrics chart, how that correlates to the Braves, is that while the Braves have been elite at zone contact for the season, for the last 2 weeks, it's kind of a mishmash for their projected lineup. So, which right now is projected to be 4 lefties and 5 righties. Now, of those, what I'm looking for is I am looking at zone contact rate. So I do see Albies and Allen, they're both over. Michael Harris is over. I see that a number of other guys in the lineup are over from a zone contact perspective, including you have Murphy is also over. Verdugo is elite at all contact. White's over. You have a few guys that aren't. So you have Ozuna, Riley, and Olson, all of whom are under league average in zone contact. And actually 2 of those, Olson and Riley, do swing a ton in the zone. So those are 2 pretty easy guys to target from a strikeout perspective. I can for sure see him. I can for sure see him getting Harris because of how much he swings. I can also see him potentially getting Eli White because of how much he swings. Same thing with Ozzy Albus, even though he's great contact because of how much he swings. So I see 4 or 5 not guaranteed, but I see 4 or 5 relatively easily just because of how much Greene makes people whiff in the zone and how much these Braves swing. Now, the rest of them is to hit that number, you're going to have to get somebody twice. There's just no 2 ways about it. It's possible that they could have like an Orioles night like last night, but that's the exception, not the rule. So probably going to have to get somebody twice. Olson is a candidate to strike out twice. Riley is probably a candidate to strike out twice, and probably not Ozuna. So if you get those 2 guys twice, you get the other 4 or 5. Now you start to get to the 6 to the 7 mark, and then you only need 1 more to get over the top. So I think this line is probably set pretty correctly. I am going to wait for a lineup to see how this is constructed for the Braves. I also want to see how much zone contact and how much zone swing is in here, because the contact rate, you also have to remember, is against all pitchers, and Hunter Greene is not all pitchers. So you have to shave a little bit off. So even somebody who's at league average from a zone contact perspective, to me, can still equate to a strikeout because of how good Greene is at limiting it. So, but in a vacuum, this is an over or nothing play. In no way am I playing heavily juiced under on Hunter Greene, even though he's on the road. I don't care. He's been so dominant this year. He's just been absolutely, his fastball's running up over 100, or around 100, and his breaking pitches have more break than last year. It's just, he has been that guy this year. And so against a team that has been better about making contact, but can be prone to striking out, I'm not sure that that's anything that I wouldn't even, I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't even take an under in this one if you gave me like -115. If you said you would give me like +110, I might have to at least think about it with the right lineup, but certainly not at -152. So this number is high for a reason. And it would not surprise me at all if he gets there. If you're going to play the over, I don't know if I'd ladder it just because of the amount of zone contact that is in this lineup. If he gets there, I think he gets 8, and I think he gets it very late. So that would be the 3 pitchers that I wanted to talk about today. I do see a few other comments. Roger asking thoughts on Kikuchi revenge game and his pitching outs. Well, it is a revenge game, but he's also pitched against this lineup a bunch of times before. when he was in Seattle and et cetera. So not a good strikeout percentage. So only a 17.5% strikeout percentage in 80 plate appearances. Kikuchi is just a guy where he can put together a good start every now and then, but overall, with age, with some of the past injuries that he's had, it's just kind of meh. It's just kind of meh is how I refer to Kikuchi. So he's not really a guy that I can look to back against a team that is so elite at making contact in Toronto, and given the poor history. If you're talking about his pitching, his pitching outs might be a little bit more bettable. That said, at a 16.5, with the amount of zone contact that he allows and the amount that the Jays make, as long as they're not making power contact, as long as they're not making hard contact, then you can see a lot of outs in the field. So if you're going to look to do anything with Kikuchi tonight, I would look to the pitching outs for sure, not the strikeouts. And thank you, Adams Digest. Appreciate you, my guy. Appreciate you being here. So thank you. All right. Last but not least, we got some other looks and totals, sides, totals, etc. for today. All right. From a money line perspective, for plus money, I think if you want plus money for today, the Twins just went absolutely crazy yesterday, and that's an abnormal offensive performance for Minnesota, and I say that as both a capper and a fan. So Orioles at plus 120 has a little bit of value. And I think the other one, if I'm looking at a plus money line, I'm also looking at Texas at plus 110. Those are the two that I would lean on from a money line perspective. And then from a totals perspective, the Mariners and the A's under 9 is what I'm looking at. There's a lot of signs that says that Brian Wu will have a decent start. His outs are up as well. So first 5 under or a full game under. And then also there's a lot of signs that Sonny Gray will have a good start also. So the Pirates team total under is something else that you can look at. All right. That's going to do it for today. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the Daily Bread Network. Please, if you haven't yet, follow me, SpinDoc Sports on X. Like the video. Give it a like. Give it a share. We appreciate that. And we will. One last question, Roger. Where do you get your starting lineups from? 2 places. So RotoWire and Swish Analytics. So if you go to Swish Analytics, pitcher versus batter, the link will come up, and then RotoWire starting lineups. That's where I get it from. I usually compare the two, and I will tell you that RotoWire typically will put out their projected lineup is more like analytical. So like if it's a lefty, they'll put more righties in, whereas Swish Analytics will put. I've found that theirs is probably a little bit more realistic. And when you go there, if you haven't been to Swish Analytics before, when you see you'll just see all the pitchers and all the hitters, and it'll be this big jumbled mess. Just go to the pitcher category and click on it, and it'll sort it by pitcher, and then you can see it. It's it's guys with a gray triangle next to them are projected starters, and then once it becomes official, then it gets a blue check mark. So if you're going to use that. Good question. All right. That'll do it for today. Thank you all for being here one more time through the chat. Thank you, Roger. Thank you, Adams. Thank you, Slim, Erica, and Mom Who Bets, everybody who is watching or who will watch later. Appreciate y'all. Best of luck if you're tailing any of this, and we will see you tomorrow.